Hello and welcome to Alpha Live Country File. No, it's not. It's Bumpdraft. This may look like we've decided to go out into the sticks and be one with nature, touch some grass, as some people have suggested that maybe I need to do after my unpopular opinion last month. But anyway, we are actually only, as the crow flies, about 40 metres away from Wilton Mill Kart Circuit. But we decided, seeing as the weather in the UK has been so pleasant, we'd give Andrew a suntan.
Yeah,
straight on the top of the head.
Yeah. So I know. I'm feeling a bit jealous. This is Piers, subtly flexing that he's still got a full head of hair.
It's going eventually, so therefore I might as well make the most of it while I've still got it. July Bumpdraft, thank you for joining us once again. If you can see our wonderful faces, it means you are a SlipStream member. Thank you so much. Again, reminder, SlipStream members, you get to watch this exclusively as a member. Our non-members, which welcome to you as well, who are listening on the audio podcast. But SlipStream members, you get to see this, and you get to watch all of the SlipStream event finals live as they happen for the first 7 days, and then everyone else gets to enjoy them thereafter. And we've got more coming from SlipStream in the coming weeks. We will touch on that shortly. But let's get the things out of the way to start with the intro, the warm-up. To start with, hello, Andrew Mather again, and Henry Baudet.
Hello.
Andrew, what have you been up to?
Lots. I think we've had 2 rounds of the British since we last did one of these. We are at Shennington Clubby. I've been out to Europe, set a new personal best record for hottest commentary box in Europe, 45 degrees, and done a bit of Donington, but that's not karting, so we don't talk about that.
I was quite enjoyed the work before we started filming, when Andrew was here and then Henry turns up and he goes, how hot was your commentary box this weekend? Mine was 45, Henry.
21 degrees, but we did put it up. We did put it down to 20 when it got to 40 outside. Myself and Ian Sylvestrin at the Rotax Euro Trophy just tweaked it down to 20 and reminded everybody on the live stream that we were doing so. And somehow then we didn't get sent any drinks or ice creams with everybody else. I can't imagine why.
There is another one I'm just going to point to. Travelling with the likes of Dan Ashton, Dave Manchester at the weekend for coming back from Wackersdorf. We got on the flight at Lufthansa. Oh yeah, no, welcome in, and asking, is the temperature good in the plane? Oh yes, no, it's very good. It's been very hot out there today, says the air hostess, straight to the face of Dan Ashton, who is looking like a snooker ball, who has been stood out there for the last 3 days. When I then promptly told her, yeah, he knows about that. He's been out there for 3 days. She looks quite embarrassed.
You say snooker ball. I've seen him recently. It's more like a basketball these days.
That's harsh.
Henry, what have you been up to? Where have you been?
Where were we? Rotax Racing Club Silverstone, which was the site of the last podcast. Remember that? We were there.
Yeah, it feels like about 3 months ago.
Rotax USA, Motorsport Country Club Cincinnati, British Championship Lark Hall, Rotax Euro Trophy Genk. And a weekend off.
No.
And
Slacker.
And I saw the biggest spider in the world, which we're not showing.
Send it to me on WhatsApp. Ready? If you don't like spiders, look away.
Look
3,
away
2, 1. How horrific is that?
Nope.
Terrible.
Yeah, that was a camera op, and the camera op said, "Guys, do I have to stand here?" And we're like, why? I said, and then he sent this photo through, and I saw it in the comments box, and Caleb Vieska was next to me, and of course Caleb looked at it, and I freaked out because I'm a wuss, and Caleb's like, yeah, oh, see, and he doesn't like him either.
I do not like him. Do not like him.
Horrible. Sounds like we've been good. Before we get into the Trackside review and have a look back at the SlipStream events and Alpha Live events for the month, Henry, we very much enjoyed our Rotax Racing Club weekend.
It was excellent.
It was a romantic weekend. We shared a hotel room.
It was.
There was not much more needs to be said about that. People can fill in the gaps.
Piers has only just come out of counselling. If you haven't seen him for a couple of weeks, he's gone out of counselling. Yes. Welcome to the world of my sleep habits.
And let's just take a moment. As somber a time in motorsport. We lost a lot of good cones that weekend.
Yes, there was some, quite frankly, some very, very traumatic footage of a stricken cone rolling around on the circuit. He's had his entire body ripped off.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. And that cone has gone to a better place, gone to the big roadworks in the sky,
Called the M25.
Yeah, but, as you know, Andrew, cone lives matter. And we lost some good soldiers that week.
Yeah, we did.
But it was an excellent race, just,
They fought valiantly.
Lest we forget.
Anyway, Trackside review coming up. Trackside review, this is where we go through what's happened this last month? We've had plenty that's been going on. We had Wilton Mill Kart Club round 3 in May. We had Trent Valley Kart Club. We had Super 1 Saturdays. That was a good event as well. And also we've just spoken about Rotax Racing Club, which I thought was... Why do we start with that? Seeing as we were just talking about it, Henry. Not your first, but one of your first events in a while, that sort of... I say that, you've actually been doing the Study Well series for a long time. But it was cool to see the start of something that hopefully gives the opportunity for a world-class event under the Rotax banner for a lot of people going forward, because it's... To start off with that event at Silverstone, great success, I thought. I enjoyed being there. And it's only going to go on to bigger and better things, I would imagine.
Yeah, no, it really, really, it was at the start of something, very, very big. Yeah, you've got the Sodi World Series, which, for my money, leads the way at the moment in the terms of rental kart racing worldwide. The Sodi World Finals, the way that the event, they have got that global network ranking system all around the world. You have to qualify to be there. The Rotax Racing Club, that's going to be a carry on from the grand finals. It's going to be the Rotax grand finals for rental kart drivers, or as Rotax like to call them, karting enthusiasts. And it's a global event. We're not allowed to say the W word, apparently.
Or the I word.
Or the I word, or G, but we're allowed to use the word global. And it is a global event. Some amazing characters. Okay, it's starting small at the moment. There's only 5 or 6 sort of Rotax Racing Club, national Rotax Racing clubs around the world, but they're only going to grow. And it was great to see drivers from, the UAE, from Italy, some really good drivers from, it's Rotax Racing Club Italy. They use, TB karts, obviously we use the Birrells for Club 100. Rotax Racing Club California, which I've been to, which I'm going back to. Rotax Racing Club South Africa, which I'm about to go to tomorrow after this is recorded. It is going to grow in the same spirit that the Rotax Grand Finals are held in. Obviously, the UK have got a huge head start, and British drivers annex the podium in every single class, but some amazing talent, a really, really amazing talent, because unlike some people's view that I have always respected, rental kart racing. We'll come back to that later, though, because we're all about unity here, not division. That's what we're all about.
As was Andrew's Unpopular Opinion last.
It was a really good event, held in the right spirit of karting. You've got some great young drivers that will almost certainly go on to do owner-driver racing. You've got some extremely talented, I would say, career rental kart drivers. I mean, the GOAT, ABS, Anwar Barrawal-Smith, again, a champion, a driver who's made a career out of rental kart ride and other stuff as well. But yeah, no, it's a really, and some new heroes. I loved the fact you're looking at people like Greg Watt, 55 years old, from the UAE via Australia, has missed out, races owner karts, has missed out so many times on getting to the grand finals, but it was his moment. The pride on his face during the drive, that to me, that sums up that event. It's we make some new heroes, some new role models for people that may not want to do owner kart racing, can't for whatever reason. There is a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke outlet for those people now.
Couldn't agree more. I was gutted to not be able to be there myself. Maybe next year. Calendars will be a bit kinder.
You don't know where it's going to be next year?
I don't know where it's going to be next year. I might have it written down somewhere. We'll pause on that one.
We'll pause on that. It will be announced in the fullness of time. It's happening again.
Yeah, no, it from the people I was talking to who were there that weekend, yourselves included, just a really fun event that showed off what the sport can do, and that's what we want.
And that was the thing that I was lucky enough to go down and chat to and get the atmosphere. Henry, you were mostly in the commentary box calling things off, but it was genuinely, everyone was there for a great time. That's Rotax Racing Club done. Wilton Mill Kart Club round 3. We love Wilton Mill Kart Club on SlipStream. Reminder, heats are available to everyone. Finals to SlipStream members live as they happen, and then 7 days after, everyone else can enjoy them for eternity. So that's good. That was good fun. Anything to add from those, or can we can skip forward?
I think so.
Let's skip forward. We had that Trent Valley Kart Club as well. And also, talking of Trent Valley Kart Club, normally at PFI was the host of
British Kart Championships that's where I was on that weekend for Rotax, their latest round of their championship. Bit of a first as well. First time we'd seen the 10s out in action. I quite enjoyed them. Yeah, they're not as quick as other cadet classes. They come off the corners quite nicely. They probably race at a similar kind of level at the moment to a Bambino, but it's some really good racing. Ansel Murray using a lot of his knowledge of an RCE chassis to do very well that weekend, get the wins. But full credit to the Rookie Academy, the R1 racing team. They brought a huge number. I think they had something like 75% of the whole field in E10s, but they were running them all in one awning, all sharing knowledge and improving everyone's skills. So full credit to them.
I'm a bit surprised about they're a bit slower, because when they ran the E10s at the grand finals last year, they ran with Luke Millward and the Canadian lad whose name escapes me, but they ran them in practice with the Minimax drivers, and the E10s were top 10 compared to the Minimax times. Now, I'm not quite sure if...
They might have changed the settings.
Yeah, they might have changed the settings a little bit now, because obviously that was under the watchful eye of the entire Rotax team, who were there to fret and fettle over every single thing. And but maybe it was different at PFI, although a lot of people from Rotax were there, to support. But that's good. Who won that was the first ticket?
So that was the first.
So Ansel Murray's got the first grand finals ticket.
It's looking good
to
for
E10.
the cup.
Yes.
Micros, Albert Farrow took the win. Bit of a family affair there, because that's where Arthur took his first British Champs win as well. One of the highlights of the weekend, though, had to be, for me, Logan Rolfe taking his first. It was a weekend of firsts. So Logan Rolfe taking his maiden victory at a British Kart Championships level, and what I particularly enjoyed about that, and didn't plan this, but and last month we were talking about unity and everyone kind of looking at each other and going like big each other up as a whole community, as opposed to taking shots at one another. That win for Logan and the podiums. Sometimes podiums can be a bit muted. Sometimes it can be a bit.
Yeah, that's not
the
Logan's
case
style.
for Logan. Logan and everyone who was there, it seemed like everyone who was there in front of the podium at PF was absolutely overjoyed to see that young lad up on that P1 step. So well done to Logan. Well done to everyone who supported him.
Because he had all his kit nicked at the end of last year. Now, I spoke to Logan, I spoke to his mum Kelly and his dad Gary earlier this week, or late last week, and I said, did you ever get any of the stuff back? And they just went, no. But they both said, and I think everything that Logan's always been a character. He grew up a lot.
Yes.
That if you're looking for clouds and silver linings, the silver lining for that horrific thing that happened to the family, having all the stuff nicked, is that Logan has realised, okay, this could all end tomorrow. I'm gonna grow up. I'm gonna act professional. I'm gonna treat this. I'm gonna take everything very seriously. He did an hour stretch commentary for an event on Alpha earlier this year. So just a great lad. And yeah, sometimes something bad needs to happen to flick that switch within a driver. I mean, I'm sure that they would rather have all their stuff back.
A bit of carpe diem.
But yeah, it was. It's been really nice. It's really nice to see. Talk about not just using Logan as an example, but so many young drivers we see, they grew up in front of our eyes. Yeah. They go through the teething pains, the mistakes they make, the emotions, the things that blurt out that kids do, but they're doing that all in front of cameras at 60 miles an hour and more. So everything's amplified, and it's great watching young kids grow up, mature, the switch flicks and think, okay, and it's great to see. And that's certainly something that's been one of the highlights for me, watching that young man, progress, not just as a driver, but as a person as well. And still as chirpy and as smiley and as ever, and greeted me by standing there chatting away to his mum, and then suddenly, like, in the background, there's a, hi, Henry, like, bleep, 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 hi, Logan.
I'll give you an example of that maturity that I saw that particular weekend. We had the Tillotson T4s with us who provided some absolutely stunning racing, the seniors in particular. Logan's a reigning champion at the T4 Nations Cup. And as you guys know, and as many of you know behind watching, when we do those paddock shows, they are just, we set the camera off and it's right, let's see who we can find. There's no planning to it. It's complete chaos, and found Logan. It's like, and we had, I think, something like 30, 45 seconds to fill, and we just changed it up and went, Logan, you've driven a T4. What the T4 driver is going to be dealing with this weekend? And he gave the most professional answer about a class that he wasn't racing in that weekend, but he just his way of being able to articulate in a manner that the audience could then understand. That was like, do you know what? Fair play. That's a sign of maturity, and he sold the category as well. He wouldn't just say like, oh yeah, I've done that, but I don't do it anymore. He's like, oh yeah, it's really, really good. I'll be dealing with this, and this, and it's
amazing how switched on. We had I do it, obviously I do the stuff in the UAE, Rotax UAE with Karting Live TV, and we have the same thing like we do at Alpha, having drivers that might be injured or drivers that aren't racing. They come in to do like a guest slot, and we had the lad Connor Clancy come in who was injured. He'd broken his arm, and we've got a sponsor to do about the replays over in the UAE, and of course mid-race, this rate that Connor's commentating on, suddenly the replay shot comes in, because we've got to say this is let's look at the sponsor's name, replay, without even blinking. Connor's like, okay, let's have a quick look at that replay here, and we're just, myself and Joe Bradley were like looking and thinking, wow, he gets it. These kids, listen, they understand, they do get it, and it's really good to see.
Yeah, that's all about being marketable, which, some drivers will want to go into other things, forms of motorsport. Some drivers want to stay in karting, but if you're marketable and likeable, people are going to help you. So that's a good thing to aspire to.
You don't have to you might want to just stay and do indoor rental karting. Still be marketable, because, hey, why not somebody pay your practice fees? Just do it. It doesn't matter what level you're at. It's be marketable, really good.
Other results at PF, Charlie Wolfett, the run continues. That's another win in the juniors. Really
in front of his wife and kids, because he's the oldest junior in the world.
No, I really enjoyed his battle with Philly Lines, though. That was, two drivers. I always like it when you get two drivers going into a final, both of them unbeaten. The story writes itself in that regard. Seniors, Matty Hingley gets his win as well.
Hingley's looking good this year.
Hingley's looking very, very good.
That was his first win since 2020, when he was a junior in the British Championship. 6 years between a win in the British Championship. And for a driver that talented, I know he took a couple of years off, but still, that just goes to show how hard it is to win at the British Championship level.
Bit of a melee behind him, but that didn't affect Matty at all. Win's a win, and he got the position on track, and he just took it away from the rest of them. Noticed we mentioned the T4s as well. Angus Langley taking the win by 0.075 of a second from Ronnie Legg. But my race at the weekend was actually the final race that we had, the T4 Seniors. If you haven't watched it, do go back and watch it in all of its glory, in full, on the Alpha Live broadcast, but particularly the fight between Lucas Blanford and Philip Rawson. Top quality racing in any form, whether that be karting or any other form of motorsport.
That's a good. Rawson versus Blanford.
He's losing his papers.
Excuse us.
I said to Andrew Fallon at the end of the weekend, Andrew, that was the best T4 race I have ever seen, and to see the grid growing as well. How many did we have in the seniors? We had 27.
That's a good grid, and any category.
It got me to the point where I love this sport, but at the age that I am, I don't always get this anymore. I started getting the itch. Of like, this is really, really good fun to commentate on, but you know what? I'd be like in the top 20 if I'm lucky. But I was just like, I wanted to have a go at this. I hope a lot of people watching at home also thought they want to have a go at this.
They put me in one of the Rotax Racing Club karts at Al Ain Raceway out in Abu Dhabi just before we went to Silverstone, and I had driven an E20 Rotax at Portimao, and that was 2022, and I hadn't driven a kart for 15 years. Well, that gave me a little bit of a hool, but I was horrifically out of shape. I've lost a bit of weight, and they put me in one of those, it was an RRC kart, a Birrell, out in Al Ain, and after 8 laps, I'm 1 second off the leading times in their club championship, and it's still bothering me now, but my word, I want to have a go, a proper go. It has motivated me to shed a little bit more timber, and
Oh, do you know what's funny is I think we're all getting itchy because I don't know, a lot of people that behind the scenes might not know, but I had a bit of a medical thing where I couldn't drive for a bit, but I can drive again now, which is great, which is good news. And now I'm just a bit like, maybe that means I should do some karting. And the pink helmet might come out of it's defrosting, shall we say?
I mean, I'm not quite sure if we want to see that.
Pierce's defrosted pink helmet.
Pierce's defrosted pink helmet. I'm glad you said it. However, I mean, at the Silverstone 24 Hours, you know, Sean Butcher, Mark Kimber, Clayton Ravenscroft and Louis Westover all pitched up and made a bit of an all-star team for an endurance. I don't know, there's plenty of really good endurance teams in rental karting or opportunities to drive endurance teams in rental. What about a Bumpdraft? Oh, yeah. A Bumpdraft endurance team.
Oh, I wasn't looking for a team.
How rude. We'll have a go.
Yeah. I fancy shifting gears. Anyway, that's for another time. Yeah, I fancy shifting gears. Anyway, for another time. That was PS. Larkhall. I'm going to start with Larkhall because I've only dipped in and out of that one. I've been busy the last few weeks. I was like, it's Freddie Slater on the grid. Not Freddie Slater. Freddie Slater's in F3. Freddie Lloyd, the other Freddie, also fast. What's he doing? Championship results? Oh, no. Hasn't been at the first 2 rounds. Cut to grid interview with Kjell Lynch. Yeah, I think I'm going to win the championship. Confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on the basis of his first weekend of the defence of his X30 senior title, I think he's got a very the third round, because it's double headers for the we always have 2 rounds a weekend for the IAMIs, but yeah, so essentially he has no drop scores. He's used his drop scores already by not being at the earlier event of the year, which was here. It's got that stage of the year. I don't know where I am or what.
Yeah, was here.
Already. He was here, but he. I think the driver who's maybe scratching their head a little bit at the end of the weekend is maybe Harrison Whitcomb, because Harrison still raced very, very well. And if you looked at the pictures from Larkhall versus Will Mill, it'd be like, well, it's the same scenario.
Yeah, everyone else,
Harrison, but now you've got Fred.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a problem because
on the same equipment,
in the same team, in the same awning, and based on the races that we've seen Fred do so far this season, that wasn't a one-off. You know, he went and performed very well at Genk at the weekend. Yeah. He was very strong at Franciacorta for his first appearance in the year of Miami Euro Series. At Warden, he had his win in the Rotax categories
when he was last at the start of the pre-final.
Yeah, well, so he is in a much stronger bit of form than he was when he beat Gus Lawrence for the title last year. And yeah, if he carries on in the way he's going from what we saw at Larkhall, yeah, I think he could win the title. It's
what I said. I spoke to Freddie obviously at Genk after he won at Genk in the Euro Trophy, last weekend in a great battle with Jeremy Roivers from Spain, with Macaulay Bishop on his own in third. It's sort
of like everyone, Macaulay Bishop, Gap. The leading two, which happened to be Freddie Lloyd. And I said to Fred, so, do you feel the pressure? And he goes, well, everyone's talking about this, me being under pressure, and I'm not. And I said, no, I don't think you're under pressure, but the situation that you're in is pressurised because you're trying to win multiple championships in multiple engine classes, in multiple continents in the same year. That means you have to miss certain rounds. So therefore, the situation is pressurised because you cannot afford to have... He was like, I get that. He was like, I get that, yeah. The situation's pressurised, but I don't feel any pressure.
If anything, he revels in it.
And that's worrying for everybody else. But he said it in a way that wasn't in arrogance. It was in a way of he gets it. He understands what it's like to be the man in British karting. The same way that we all look to Gus Lawrence, to be the leader, to be the professional, to sort of lead the sport in terms of as a talisman or a linchpin, as a multiple British champion for 3 consecutive years. And I know there are champions in senior Rotax and KZ2, but being realistic, in terms of how the rest of the karting world sees British karting, they look at who's X30 champion. And the rest of the world look at who's senior X30 champion. Okay, they're the man. Or woman, but they're the man. Fred, who a couple of years ago, I would have said, is he mature enough to be that man? Now, yes, he is, and he gets it, and he's enjoying it. I think he's really actually enjoying what he's giving himself some expectations. Yeah, he knows other people have got expectations of him, and that's quite a good thing, you know, because he's not just the kid brother of Alex Lloyd anymore. He's his own man, and he says, I'm always going to be cheeky. I said, good, don't lose that, but yeah. I understand. He understands. Yeah, he's gonna be the statesman, but with the cheeky grin and the little, you know, the earring and the little smile and sometimes the celebrations. For example, turning round at Lark Hall on the last lap and going.
Or nearly binning it as he won the championship over the line here last season.
Yes.
That was entertaining as well. We had a nice clip of that.
You're going to have a lot of his character.
Absolutely. But yeah, definite confidence. That was Senior X30.
Other bits to talk about, we'll stick with the X30s. George Edgar took a double in the juniors. It's not as clear-cut. Maybe I think there's going to be a response coming in from the likes of Aaron Richardson, Sukmani Kira, others involved in that. But we do go to Rowra next, so we're on to the Edgar patch for the next double header. That's going to be a pressurised situation as well, because everyone's going to look at that geographic situation and go, well, George is going to do it again, isn't he, with another double. Now, we've all talked about this sport long enough to know that is not necessarily going to be the case.
What I liked about George Edgar at the end of the weekend, I went to Mick Barrett and Dan as they were packing the cart away. The cart was spotless.
Ooh.
The cart was spotless.
It was spotless on the Sunday. Sorry, I'm cutting across you there because
no.
I went and had a chat with Mick, and well done, Mick. Great weekend now. How do you feel it's gone? It's like, yeah. We were a little bit shaky on the Saturday though. It's like, come again? Yeah.
Yes.
George Edgar finished the final, from the report that I've received.
Yes, that's right.
George Edgar finished the final on the Saturday, which he won with a broken chassis.
Yes.
They'd been doing some work on it. It wasn't a fresh chassis. They'd done some welding on it to, pull it back in. The welds had failed in the final. And they then had to obviously do the work on that to get everything right for Sunday.
So the car that he put down on Sunday had never been driven before.
Correct.
And is currently undefeated. I would sell that cart.
Yeah.
I'd put that up, but in terms of, when you think about Lark Hall, how cramped it is,
the
close quarters, you've got to get your elbows out. We saw, it's a lovely track. It's a narrow track though. But at the end of the weekend, with George Edgar, the graphics kit did not have a single tyre scuff. None of the stickers were slightly ripped at the edges. It literally looked pristine.
George is becoming a real versatile driver, of not only being able to take the win on a good day, but the win on a day where, unbeknown to everybody else,
his chassis broken.
The chassis
wagon
gone.
Broke.
So that was really impressive. Sorry, Mick, if I wasn't meant to tell the world that, but there we go. Ironman Water Swift Restricted. Ollie West finally gets a win in the British Kart Championship, so that was really good. Ollie Woodall as well took the win on the second day, and we all now know his secret power. His mum's cottage pie.
Yes.
If you don't know, watch the paddock shows and all the rest of it, and I'll explain that one. What else did we have? I'm going to do this in slightly strange order. M1 Bambino's Teddy Smith and Presley Knight taking the wins there. Got to feel though for Teddy, because it could have been two. He then had the underweight. We both knew it straight away just from the body language of what was going on in the scrutineering there, that it's like, oh no, this might be one of those cases where the scales of not given the good news.
Yeah, no, it was. You can see it. Of course, this is one of those things. The cameras are on him. He's 7. You're looking, and there's the cheering, and then you push on the scales, and you can just see and of course, they're not allowed to have their parents in with them. In park firm, it's a controlled area, and there are cameras on them, and these are children, and you're trying to explain to the viewers, but also try and be sensitive to the fact that you've got in front of your very eyes a little 7-year-old having their heart broken. It's really, really hard indeed. However, these are the things that make drivers stronger. It's what our sport it's what makes karters far better equipped to deal with life's unfairness. The fact that life can throw you a curveball in any situation. If you're used to not getting everything that you want when you want it from a young age, that helps.
And also, to a certain extent, as a 7-year-old, justice in the fact he was underweight.
Yeah,
that's
but
black and white. But in his mind, he's gone and won the race, and it's been taken away from him. And I think I mentioned it in one of the other previous podcasts. That's one of the things that I'm so grateful for karting in my kids and adolescence, is the fact that like real life stuff so much more resilient to it. So that's something that I think should be advertised more in karting, is that if you do karting as a young person and you're competitive, I don't think it's just karting, but I think karting is a more advanced form of it than maybe even any other sport. It's how much you grow as a young person and how much you can deal with, which then sets you up for life.
But of course, you know, Teddy Smith's demise, it was Presley Knight, who, and now of course I've been away for the British Championship. It was my first British Championship event of the year. Get there, straight into the paddock show. We're walking up, right, M1 Bambinos, let's go over there. There's Presley Knight. So my very first paddock show interview of the year. Presley Knight, how's it going? Okay, we're a little bit shy. No problem. Where did you finish?
Nothing.
Can we do an Elvis impression? Give us a
He's too young to know who Elvis is.
Look, are you happy at all? So why would you finish last? Oh, because Jordan's engines are beep. And then came the apology, because Jordan Baines, Force Motorsport, who was had the waft behind the M1 Bambino. I mean, it was good enough to win on Sunday, but it turns out that, of course, young Presley was being mechanicked by Jordan's dad, Mark Baines, Frag. That's what he does. And Frag had told young Presley, right, when he comes across his microphone, this is what you say. You've got to say Jordan's engines are. And of course, being a young, impressionable 7-year-old, trying to impress or please, do as he's told as a mechanic, when that question came across, he reeled off the answer he was told to give by his mechanic.
Stitched up.
Stitched right up. And it did give a bit of James Fitcher a bit of editing work for the paddock show. But there we are.
Moving on to Honda Cadet.
Go on then.
Honda's Sawyer Henderson got his maiden win in a British Kart Championships
They
race.
love a Honda Cadet in Scotland, don't they?
They do indeed. Lots of Scottish representation, and of course at that point they were all happy because they'd just beaten Haiti in football. Since then, it's not gone so well. Archie Loveridge got the win on day number 2. Arch still looking really good in the championship fight. Long way to go, of course. Let's not count any chickens too early and all of that.
They're hoping he doesn't have a growth spurt because he's already very tall and he's already on the cusp of the weight limit. But one more win in Honda Cadet for Archie Loveridge, he breaks the British Championship record for most wins in that class.
Wow. And there's some serious names in the Honda Cadet.
Well, Mitchell Gibbons, Kian Nakamura Berta are the two with the most wins so far. I mean, Mitchell, I think, has gone on to do other things, but Kian Nakamura Berta is doing extremely
From a regional now, is he?
well.
From regional?
Yeah.
That's either former regional. No, he's not up to F3 yet now, is he?
No. So it must be former regional.
You know, that's some exalted company that
Absolutely.
Young Archie is about to eclipse.
One more class, because there's probably some thinking, Andrew, you've forgotten about him. No, I haven't. Miami Water Swift, Fusion are back, and they're back in business after the slight pasting they took earlier on in the season on multiple fronts by DK Academy. Alfie Davidson took the win on the Saturday, and Mason Hibbert took the win on the Sunday. And you talk about a purple streak. Mason Hibbert in the last 3, I think, has had wins in the last 3 weeks. Yeah. Because he won on Sunday as we're recording this. Saturday. I always do that. He won on Saturday as we're recording this previously at Wackersdorf. Yep. Won every single qualifying heat as well. The only time he didn't win was the super heat where he came P2. It wasn't a dominant performance in that he was 10 seconds down the road, because it's Water Swift, it's X30 Mini, it never is.
That's almost more impressive.
That is a real turnaround in terms of form. If we're talking about the 2 DKs, Fawkes and Sammy, and then Davidson as the lead Fusion, Hibbert's been the number 4. He's gone from being the number 4 to the number 1 in one big leap, and I think he got big results in the Champions Academy race as well. So you talk about it's the buses thing. I think he just needed that one win to come along and give him the belief with a great move as well. That switch to the inside at Roll. And then since then he's gone and won another couple of races. It's going to be tough for him because again his scores are a little bit further back in the variety of championships that he's had so far.
But not impossible.
But not impossible. And the others are going to start worrying now. The others maybe saw Mason as that's the kid that's going to push me through and be happy with a second or a third place, and I'm going to take the win. No. Mason's now on a winning streak that, on the basis of the last month, could go through the entire rest of the year.
He was on course, 9 podiums without a win. Now, in the British Championship, Connor Duncan has got 10 without a win. Mason was about to join one more podium without a win for Mason. He would have joined that, and that's not a record you want. No. But to do it in the way he did it, because it was a high pressure situation, he made the move that actually put him in a position at the start of the last lap, or the last corner of the penultimate lap. He passed Bodie Batch for second place with a great move that gave him the track position going up the back straight. Look to the inside, Davidson defends. So he swings out wide, thinking he's going to take the normal racing line. Davidson then thinks, okay, I've survived another corner. Davidson just eases wide to set himself up, and the next thing you know, it was like Mansell and Piquet at Silverstone in '87, the British Grand Prix, where he just sells him a dummy and just dives to the inside. But Bodie Batch was coming to the inside, and if Mason had waited a fraction of a second longer before he just made that move, he would have cut across the front of Bodie Batch and taken the pair of them out. Timed it to perfection, and, eventually, Alfie, I'm sure, is disappointed. I'm sure he was disappointed, but you realise, you know what? Yeah, to lose to a great move like that, there's no harm in that. I didn't make a mistake. It was all down to the other driver doing something special.
And in some ways, I think his win on Saturday that I've just come back from was an even bigger build on top of that, because Saturday you got a situation where he is the driver in the lead. He's the one being hunted down. He's the one who's had 4 qualifying heat wins all the way through the rest of the weekend. Ilias comes in, and Ilias is going to put a move in. Of course he is. Yeah. And I think even 5 weeks ago, Mason probably would have then gone, oh dear, not my day. And he came back through. And that for me is the biggest part of this winning streak for this young driver now. It's that grit and resilience that anyone needs to win a championship. It's there.
There we go. That was a Trackside review from this last month. We also had TKC as well. They were at Rowra, so that was some of the drivers I think maybe will have been thinking about having a look at that and seeing what's to come next. Trackside review. Dan, is there anything else before we move on that you wanted to touch on?
No, I think we're all good.
Again, a reminder that the Trackside Review, we talk about, of course, British Kart Champs when it's on, Wilmot Kart Club, we've got Trent Valley Kart Club, we've also got another SlipStream event coming up, we've got the Champions Kart Club coming up from Buckmore Park, some owner-driver racing at Buckmore Park's coming back, that's going to be on SlipStream, so look forward to that. Also, just before we move on to our unpopular opinions, I teased it last month. Ooh. We've got some more SlipStream goodness coming to our members, and hopefully to give you members some more value, because we've had a great uptake. It's been going really well. We want to continue to give you more value for your membership, also to hopefully encourage some more members to get involved as well. The second podcast, which is coming, now has a name.
Oh, go on then.
The SlipStream Tune-Up. Ooh. The SlipStream Tune-Up is coming to your screens as a member and to your ears as non-members, but also there'll be clips, of course, posted online. And the idea is to give all of you members at home some inside knowledge from the best in the business. The idea is that most of you watching and listening are either young drivers who want to improve, family members of, friends of, or enthusiasts of the sport who want to understand more. I'm basically used to be a driver. I loved when I was younger, learning how to improve and finding resource to help myself improve, and we're going to give that to you. First guest, Oliver Hodgson, podcast already recorded.
Oh, wow.
Second guest, August. Oh, do I give it away now?
Go on.
Yeah, go on then. Second guest, Gus Lawrence, already recorded.
Boom.
So that's a pretty good start to the tune-up. And the first episode, which will be in the second week of July for our SlipStream members, the week after for non-members, is about how to win a big karting event. Not a coincidence that airs 2 weeks before Kartmasters.
And let me get this right. So this is you asking various members of the karting fraternity, the experts in their field, to give away as many secrets as they're prepared to help other drivers learn how to improve. So it's not going to just be drivers. I'm assuming you're going to have, other areas in terms of fitness, nutrition,
Absolutely.
so all that. So basically, what you're trying to say is that SlipStream, by becoming a SlipStream member, it will make you a better driver.
Do you know what? I hadn't even considered that, but that's great marketing. But yes, the idea is this first episode, honestly, Oliver Hodgson, Ollie, if you're watching, thank you so much. I couldn't have asked for a better
Can I be the
first
guest when it
episode.
comes about how to make sure you get to the grid on time?
No.
Maybe not.
Anyway, but no, Oliver Hodgson, we talk about how to win big karting events. We'll probably get Ollie Hodgson on again. The second one with Gus Lawrence is how to win a championship, and then it will be so on and so forth. We've already got the third guest teed up. Hasn't been recorded yet, so I won't give it away, but it's someone stateside who you might want to listen to. But that's coming up.
Excellent.
Let's keep your eyes peeled for when that comes out. It's going to be good. Hopefully you guys enjoy it and get some of the best knowledge from the best in the business. Next up, our unpopular opinions. Unpopular opinions time, and last month unpopular opinions were that we should all be nicer to one another in the karting community, that the weight limits in
Too much.
are too
The weight limits for the drivers are too low.
Yeah, too low. That had a lot of reaction. We had one clip that got 120 something comments, and my reaction was that mechanics signalling to their drivers is pointless.
I think that looking at the comments, maybe there were several people in the comments who did their own signal what they thought of that opinion.
I knew this was coming, Henry.
P1 sign.
But it was a P1 sign.
Yeah, P1 sign, or you haven't done your seatbelt up.
Yeah. You need to.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, but it's all good fun.
Yes.
And
got people
this
talking.
month I haven't vetted our unpopular opinions. Normally I do, but we're a few months in now, so I trust my co-hosts. Andrew, we'll start with you, I think, today.
Mine's a proxy one from a good colleague who I saw last weekend.
Your unpopular opinion.
My
Their
unpopular opinion, but I actually agree with it, so I'm kind of taking this one. Why when you go to a European race, and I should caveat this, that there's one particular big European paddock that I've not been in yet. You were in it this last weekend, so you might be able to say whether I'm right or wrong on this one. Why are European paddocks with the same teams, often the same drivers and a lot of the same personnel, just much more chill than when we're on here in Blighty in the UK? There's a lot of angst in a UK paddock that is not there in as great a amount when we go to Europe. Maybe it's the beer.
Maybe it's, dare I say it, some of the facilities that we were. Okay, I was at Genk, and on Friday it was 40 degrees. Saturday 39 degrees. Sunday it cooled right down to a frigid 32 degrees on Sunday. Now, of course, the teams and some of those awnings are unbearable. Teams have got fans. There were teams with swimming pools. There were teams with all sorts, and yet everyone seems generally a little bit happier. Why was that? Because they can walk up to a really nice restaurant like you've got here at Wilton Mill, like you've got at Silverstone, like you've got at PFI. You were able to order, a beverage, a nice meal with salad and pasta and stuff that helps racing drivers, actually helps racing drivers in an air-conditioned, plush thing. The toilets were cleaned and were plentiful in their number. You can sit and watch. Yeah, you can get an alcoholic beverage for, the parents and the mechanics. But I thought, you imagine that same 40 degrees at a British track.
I don't even want to think about it.
That would have caused everyone just be miserable. And we know we're miserable when we're cold, we're miserable when we're wet, we're miserable. But maybe it's because the big paddocks that we go to in Europe and around the world, generally all are very, very well appointed in terms of being able to, and I'll say, and obviously we're sat at Wilton Mill, one of the best in the UK. You can go to that, and on a boiling hot day, you can go and wash your face and use soap. And the toilets are nice and clean and smell nice. And you can sit in the cool and overlook the circuit and have a nice meal and a nice drink, and there's nice places to watch and there's covered areas, that makes the brutally hot conditions out there a little bit, and the events take longer. We aren't rushing through events, race after race after race after race after race. There were 98 seniors in Genk, so they did qualifying, 5 heat races, a pre-final and a final. Qualifying started midday Friday, and we finished. I was on the road at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, actually, Andrew. Yeah. I think from my perspective, I've never raced in European events like that. I've actually never been to a European karting event, but I do know, having watched them and seen them, and having raced and watched a lot of karting in the UK, it's good because we're efficient in the UK, but we do like to cram a lot in. It's literally bam, 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 bam. So maybe everyone's got that panicked, rushed. Everything feels slightly rushed, so everyone's a bit more stressed. I don't know.
No, I think it was an opinion that had been given to me by a colleague, and I went, yeah, I agree with that one, but I didn't really know how and why, and I think you've both touched on some very good points there that could be why, in my opinion.
Have you experienced it? Have you raced in Europe? Have you raced in the UK? Do you actually think that this is a thing? Is it just something that one person has an opinion on? Let us know in the comments, and maybe we'll talk about it, and hopefully maybe we can bring some of that chill from the European continent to the UK soil.
It has its moments, though. We should caveat. It's not everything good.
Do I want to preempt what I think some of the comments will say about why in the UK people are a little bit more touchy? I think, and again, this is not my opinion, but this is preempting what I believe some of the comments. There will be a 4-letter response to some of those comments. MSUK. I just think that people have it in their heads that because it's an MSUK event, they just get their head on them.
We'll see. We'll see what the comments say. Henry, I haven't vetted yours, so if there is no Henry's unpopular opinion, then it wasn't safe for television. So, Henry, off you go.
Okay. Not for the first time, Andrew, you've been keeping me awake at night.
Sorry.
I thought it was me. We were sharing a hotel room. Have you moved on already?
I did have a couple. I had a couple, there was a few, I was thinking I could use this one about that, a few thinly veiled swipes at authority in karting, and I thought, no. Because it wasn't you necessarily, it was what you said last month about uniting. Yeah. You exposed the problem. It got me thinking. When I first got into a kart track at 1996, we were an indoor kart track in Cardiff. Now that's close to Landau. We weren't allowed to talk about Landau because they were outdoor karting. We were indoor karting. Okay. I then moved to outdoor karting, start racing, and because I was a journalist at the start of one season, but I was starting to get a little bit more involved in the running of the club. I thought, right, we've got all these local. I'm a journalist. I've got 10 local and regional newspapers. I'm going to write an article, season preview, put a couple of nice photos in there, send it to all these local newspapers saying, look, it's free to watch, come down and watch Landau Kart Club, brilliant. They all got published because local newspapers, they just love good copy that is written in for them with a photo. And this was 2002. I've still got all the newspaper copies. I rock up, first round of the season, to be greeted by, oh, who paid you to do that then? Why wasn't my driver mentioned? Oh, that's a terrible, I can't believe you would have done that, Henry. I thought I liked you. I thought I knew you, and you don't mention my driver like that. Instant. I was like, all I did was trying to get more people to come watch karting, and it's never changed since then. Yep. So, British karting, do you want to unite, like Andrew says? Well, the first ever kart race in the UK was held in 1959 at RAF Lakenheath. That means in 2029 it's the 70th anniversary of karting in the UK. My unpopular opinion, it's not a popular opinion necessarily, it's a proposal. It's a call to arms. In 2029, on the 70th anniversary of karting in the UK, British karting unites. It unites with a 3-week, the most ambitious probably the most expensive, the most intense 3 weeks of karting that we have ever had. It's based at Silverstone as a hub in the same way that the Olympic Games is structured with a hub. But also, for other events, we use Wilton Mill, we use Daytona Milton Keynes, and we use one of the team sport tracks north of London, which is 1,000 metres in length, as the others. It's over 3 weekends, including the week. It's about 25 days. Blanket broadcast coverage over a single portal. All the officials have to be vetted and taken from all types of karting. We crown, in those 3 weeks, 70 British karting champions. It's going to be a pain in the you-know-what for some of the owner drivers, because that year's British Kart Championship has to be run over 3 weekends. 2 rounds, 2 weekends, one the first weekend of the games, and the last rounds at the last weekend of the games. We have the supercarts. They do their British Championship on the big track at Silverstone. All the owner driver classes do their finals, their British Championships at Silverstone. We do the British Endurance Championships in both owner driver and rental. We do indoor and outdoor rental karting, 2-stroke and 4-stroke, across every age and weight limits to get to 70 events. Now, that will be an awesome undertaking. It has to be centrally organised and funded by Motorsport UK. What does it mean, though? There's the pinnacle. There's the end result. 3 weeks of karting where we crown 70 British champions. Rental, owner driver, sprint, endurance. I haven't got on to whether we do separate classes. In some classes for women, in rental karting, I'm leaning towards yes. In owner driving, obviously no. Supercarts, KZ2s, all the way down to Bambinos. 1 British champion per class. But that's the final part. But to get to that part, you have to qualify. And that means that before that 3-week period, British karting has to go out, and we have to give, certainly in the rental kart world, every driver a chance to qualify for this. It means that the people that organise this, in theory, global karting event, this is karting 70 for 70, whatever we want to call it, has to go to every indoor and outdoor venue and put some promotional acts. Here's your, if you want to go to Carew Karting, I'll use that, down in West Wales, an outdoor kart circuit. It's not licensed, it's an outdoor. But if you want to go and be the outdoor 2-stroke, 4-stroke rental kart champion, you've got to do a qualifying session there, and we'll take the fastest qualifiers and move you on. It means that all these different companies, it means like Team Sport and other different groups of owner drivers, well, somebody has to run the finals. 1 venue, 1 set of karts, officials taken from all forms of karting around the country. And you have to apply. You have to apply to be official. Same with the broadcasters. And over 3 weeks, when everybody has qualified, whether indoor, outdoor, thus uniting every circuit, because every circuit has to be involved. There might be one kid in Watford who goes to his local Team Sport or other indoor kart circuit, puts down the best lap from that circuit. They go on to the next round, and suddenly they're in the British Indoor Karting Championship finals. It all has to happen over 3 weekends. It'll be intense. There will be racing that takes place on a weekday. I was thinking it's either going to be the last 3 weeks in August, culminating in August Bank Holiday Monday, or going into the first week of September. I'm leaning towards August to keep kids off school, even though it's going to mess up with holidays. Yes, I can see people from the British Championship up in arms. Well, they've got a full season. But no, maybe that year's British Championship as a one-off is a single weekend event. The qualifiers take place earlier in the year. What I think will happen is in the comments, people will go, great idea, but that's going to be a nightmare for us. That's going to be a nightmare for us. And therein lies the problem. Instantly, people thinking, but my little part of karting, that's going to inconvenience me. Well, if everyone is inconvenienced ever so slightly for something that's never been done before, and let's make it ambitious. Let's make it unprecedented. Let's see what can happen using this as a platform to unite British karting. You said it. And it did. It has kept me awake at night. So there is a potential solution. This is karting 70 for 70, 2029, 3 weeks, 70 events, 3 or 4 venues, centralised hub, spirit of the Olympic Games, blanket, single portal coverage. And again, the coverage is in a single, like you go to the BBC at the moment, you can see every single World Cup game, every single highlight, every single goal. Whoever, and again, whether it's Alpha, whether it's other broadcast companies around live streaming companies, all have to come together, work together, officials, marshals, the whole thing. And then we put on 3 weeks non-stop British Championship karting from indoor, and you put the indoor 4-stroke rental kart British Championship on the same bill as the British KZ2 Championship. Same 3 weeks. There we go. Sorry, that's a bit long. That's going to be tough for you to edit, but there we go. Let's unite British karting like we all want to do. Over to you, Motorsport UK. Get some money. Let's put something out there. Let's do it. 2029. There's plenty of time to plan it.
That would be a hell of an advert for karting, because I think also the public don't really realise how much karting is out there, what type of karting you can do, how good all of the karting is, and it would be a hell of an advert to get more people involved.
It will be intense. It will be very, very. It's broad. It's ambitious. I haven't crossed every I and dotted every T, but I have come up with a list of the classes and how we could possibly do it. But more importantly, that 3 weeks is the end of a year-long process that would force everybody in British karting to unite, or at least get to know each other to discover what's out there. After that, what British karting does with all that information, because they will have a huge database of drivers, of circuits, of venues, of things. What they do after that, well, that's down to British karting. That's down to all the various factions. And if they want to go out and go on after that and just carry on being that, then, but for 1 year, why not? Let's flip the script massively and do it. 2029, the 70th anniversary of karting in the UK.
Think of not what karting can do for you, what you do for karting.
Do you know what?
To paraphrase.
There we go. Wonderful. Andrew, thank you for your unpopular opinion. Henry, thank you for your unpopular opinion.
I don't know. It's an opinion. I mean, I could have done something a little bit that was. I got one about circuit licenses, and I got another one about. But
we can save it for another month.
Yeah. Call to arms.
What do you reckon? Do you fancy being part of one of the 70th anniversary, one of 70? That would be a pretty cool thing to do. Let us know if you think it's something that we should do, or if you have an alternative suggestion that might achieve the same thing. The more discussion there is about what could be positive for karting, the better. And that's kind of why we're here, really, isn't it? Yeah. Right, my unpopular opinion. I've got two. Firstly, cheap toilet paper is a false economy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you go through more than... Yep. But anyway, karting, it's just because I moved house and I had a choice to make. And I was like, I'll treat myself. And I feel like I'm not getting through
changed, man.
Every single person over the age of 40 who went to a state school in the 1980s remembers the tracing paper. They remember British schools' tracing paper toilet roll. It gave me an issue about not going to the toilet in school from when I was 5 to when I left at 18.
But to be honest, it does give you an opportunity to get in touch with your yourself.
Quite literally. I mean, we used to.
It explains a lot, doesn't it?
We used to call toilet paper Clint Eastwood. Because of he was Dirty Harry and all that.
Okay, anyway.
Clint Eastwood doesn't take off nobody.
Okay, right. Anyway, my real karting related unpopular opinion, just because it was on my mind. Literally the other day, I was thinking that, and I can't not say this. It felt like you're charging half as much, but you have to use 4 times. Anyway, driving standards are as good now in karting as they have ever been, if not better. There's so much discussion about driving standards this, it's all getting worse, every year it gets worse, blah, blah, blah. I actually realised I watched quite a lot of karting, both, club level, intermediate, British Kart Champs level. I've been involved in high karting, been involved in Rotax Racing Club, done karting myself. And I actually think it's better now than it was when I was racing, in terms of, because people say, the driving standards are terrible. It's the driving standards. Often they blame the officials. We'll get onto that at another point, but it's a whole different discussion. Is it worse? I don't think it is.
Have we sat here and talked about, British Championship where so-and-so smashed so-and-so and off for the win? No, we spoke about an incredible pass for a victory, Mason Hibbert. I just spoke about, Genk and 98 senior drivers. Of course, there's accidents. The great battle in the final. Literally back and forth between a British driver and a Spanish driver who are both at the top of their game. We haven't discussed carnage here, carnage there. There is, because by its very nature, karting is very close.
Combative.
Combative.
Yep.
I think people mistake driving standards with how much it costs to repair any damage.
Because also, the reason that this came about in my mind was I thought back to when I did about one season of Minimax when I was 13, 14 at Kimbolton. And the fear going down towards Kimbolton corner, turn one, on lap one of the final. If you were pole, third, fifth,
you were like,
oh, I might as well have just qualified seventh because I'm kind of come out. The bumper drop downs, as much as there's a lot of evils with it, there's a lot of positives. But I also think, like, I watch Wilton Mill Kart Club. Yes, there are crashes. Karting, there are crashes. But I watched the club level karting and the level at the front. And we've spoken a bit about British Kart Champs, blah, blah, blah. That's the top of the sport. Hopefully that should always be at the top. But I think the quality and the lack of bad driving standards as a whole, even down to a club level and even below in higher karting, I actually think that the sport has taken big steps forwards. And I think it almost adds on to your opinion from last month, Andrew, that karting needs to stop taking pot shots at each other in the community, but also stop taking pot shots at yourself. There's a lot of discussion about poor driving standards. And yes, there are individuals and individual cases where poor driving standards occur. But I think it's less often than it has ever been. And I think the actual racing is in a really good place. And I think that we should recognise that and potentially even applaud ourselves for it, because generally it's pretty good.
Well, it's easier to put views. Easier to get views on social media. Maybe earn a bit of coin off, posting crash clips, or then chirping up with an Instagram post or a status or a photograph. Obviously, every crash is caused by a driver doing something that's not horrifically bad, making a slight mistake, which everybody makes. We certainly talk about a lot of better racing than we do. I mean, I think Kart Masters last year, insert the whole Crash Masters clip now, but I mean, there were, maybe 2 or 3 races out of 60 that you and I lost our heads with and said, this is a disgrace. This is not British karting. Out of 3, and of course other races, how much drama, how much excitement is there? You're going to get 36 drivers, and then the people that don't win. Maybe if a track rod cost 20 quid to replace, would people moan about driving standards so much? I don't know. If a steering column was half the price as it is, would people moan about the driving standards? If the nose cones weren't as flimsy in terms of underneath, you show the nose cone a curb and the underneath scrapes off, you have to buy a new nose cone. Would people moan about it quite so much?
It's an interesting point. And I also think that there's more complaints about driving standards at what I would suggest is at the intermediate level in the British karting. Club karting, I think people generally are there's a greater proportion of people at club karting, let's say Wilton Mill Kart Club, Trent Valley Kart Club, SlipStream events, but also all the other club karting events over the country. A good proportion of the grid are there as a hobby. They want to do well, but they're there with, their heads have a good time. Yeah. The British Kart Championships, almost everyone there is very professional. They've been in the sport a long time. Mm-hmm. They are operating at a high level. I don't want single championships out, but like the UKC, TKC, Super 1 series, that's where I see more comments of people complaining about the driving standards. But also you've got, I think because it's almost a sort of an intermediate point, you then end up with that kind of a bit of both. You've got drivers that have been doing it for a hobby and now starting to take it seriously, but haven't got the experience, make more mistakes, haven't got that clinical driving. It's not drivers, I think genuinely 99 times out of 100, if an incident happens, it is genuinely a mistake or a slight misjudgment. Yes, that is maybe under the banner of poor driving standards, but I think that happens less often than it did, and I don't think that people are going out of their way to cause issues.
Bad news travels fast, good news travels slow.
There you go.
If it bleeds, it leads. That's what was in journalism, bad news, front page of the newspapers. It gets more interest, What's more thing? 2 drivers throttling each other at the end of a race, or 2 drivers shaking each other hand, fist bump, giving each, lifting each other's arms on the podium and giving each other a hug after a head-to-head battle. Yeah. What gets more views?
You kind of hit on the thought I was having in my mind for the last couple of minutes. I think in certain areas. Like I've noted this year, some of the senior X30 racing that I've had the pleasure on commentating on has been really, really good.
And good down the order.
And good down the order, whether that be Europe, British, club. I've really enjoyed a lot of X30 racing so far in 2026. And it not that long ago that it was like, oh, this is all a little bit shunty for my liking. I think some areas are on the rise in terms of better driving standards, but I do think there are others that are maybe dropping, and I think we've maybe got to have a little look at why that is the case and work on it. So I am sitting on the fence here, annoyingly.
Well, no, I'm last month I said to Piers, I appreciate your opinion, but you're wrong. This week, a lot of it has to do with the same group of drivers will behave in two very different ways, depending on the quality and how the officials officiate the events. I almost lost what little hair I have left when I was at an event earlier this year, not in the UK, but that doesn't narrow it down because most of my stuff...
Mr. Worldwide here.
Where I went to and I make a habit of going to the drivers' meetings, and the drivers' meetings, which I think are the most important part, that sets the tone. The race director, how the race director conducts the drivers' meeting, sets the tone. This particular race director, first of all, said, we're not bothering with it. I can't get the kids to quieten down, so I'm just going to write a note and put it on the Discord for the event. I said, trust me, that's not going to work. Do the drivers' meeting. Any issues, I'm there. And I stand there, and if I see a kid with their phone out in front of everybody, I'll say, oh, excuse me, John, put your phone away, please. And guys, this is the race director speaking. It's rude and disrespectful not to listen. Please listen, and I'll stop. I'll stop the race director in the middle of the race meeting. That race director went, oh, yeah, no, thanks for that. I can never get them to do that, so I don't bother giving a drivers' meeting anymore. The way you start a meeting, you can take the same 100 drivers, for example. If you stand up there, speak to them nice, I will not accept this. This is not acceptable. If you do this, there will be this consequence. Then that sets the tone. And that race meeting will have lots of good driving. You take the same 100 drivers and say, there's no drivers briefing. Have a look in your entry pack. All the notes are in there.
Chaos.
Those same 100 drivers will have a different outcome. A lot of it is down to officiating and taking control of the race meeting at the start. And do you know what? Ken Potter out in the UAE once took away the fastest lap time of 34 out of the 36 senior Rotax drivers or junior Rotax drivers, because he said very clearly, for qualifying, you go out and you have got till this marshal point to get up to speed. If one driver just goes out at the start and belts it straight away, and you're still slow, no matter where you are on the circuit, when that driver comes round on their fastest lap, you all lose your best lap. One driver went out, booted it, everyone else crawling round, and suddenly the next driver turned up on 30 karts doing 2 miles an hour. They all then quickly went, got on with it. At the end of that qualifying session, 34 of the drivers, and Ken stood there and said, what did I tell you? And the team managers, the mechanics are like, yep, that's fine, penalise them. The drivers were like, okay. By the end of the season, that was never a problem. It's all about how you officiate the meeting, you know?
Thank you for your input. I think it's a good thing to think about. What do you think? Do you think driving standards are better now than they have been? Do you think they've got worse? Are they the same? Are we looking back on previous karting with rose-tinted glasses, or who knows? Let us know in the comments, because we do actually want to know.
There was that clip of was it Rob Holland and Jay Goodwin? It's Super One, the first year the bridge was built at PFI for Super One in the rain, where I forget which one was the assailant and which one was the assailed, but they came off the bridge and there had been an issue, and of course the driver went to the inside and didn't brake and literally smashed the other kid out of his kart and walked off because he felt that we're not talking about stuff like that anymore.
I can't recall ever seeing anything like that in the last decade. So I won't put that clip in the podcast.
No, but we're not talking about that.
Guys, it's pretty hot, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm tired personally. It's been.
Do you know what? I think actually, I forgot actually. Yeah, it's time. Unfortunately, because of the extreme heat we're having, we're going to have to take a hydration break now. So, talk amongst yourselves. Advert break as well.
And that's time for the hydration break. 26 minute in, a bit later than usual.
This is that Wolves are just leading into him, putting him off balance, not a foul. It's good defending.
Hi, I'm Oliver Hodson. I'm the first guest on the SlipStream Tune-Up podcast. Really excited to be on here, and what you're going to hear is me talking about how to win major karting events.
Might have been a little push, yeah, but you're not going to get that, Sunshine.
It's not going to get another one, that's for sure. Let me tell you what's coming up on ITV over the course of the next couple of days. Argentina against Egypt is from Atlanta on Tuesday, 4:15, ITV 1 and STV. And then Switzerland against Colombia straight afterwards, 8:15, ITV 1 and STV from Vancouver. I was going to give you a statistic, actually.
They started really quick tempo, just dropped off a little bit. It's only natural. This break might just reinvigorate them a little bit.
Well, if you look at the possession stats, the official...
Oh, okay. I reckon we can carry on now. Thanks very much. Oh, come on, get rid of the bottles. We need to get on with this. Get on with the game. So we've got podcasts to film. So we've got much better for that.
Yeah,
Do you know what? I don't think we could have carried on without it.
I don't think we could have possibly made it to the end of the show without that. Yeah.
Convenient that we could fit an advert break in that
That's
section
strange,
as well.
isn't it? It was just the right time. 3 minutes is perfect
Almost,
time.
yeah, almost like it's
so
considered. Anyway, Phonebox. The Phonebox, time to get someone from the world of karting involved. Henry's just opening his lungs over there, so he can join in a moment. This month's Phonebox guest is going to be someone we've discussed and commentated on, who's been a part of karting for a very, very long time, Miles Murphy. Now, I have teed up Miles, and here he is. Hello. Miles Murphy, Piers Pryor here, for you're on the Bumpdraft podcast with Andrew Mather, and Henry Baudet is here, but he's currently about 20 metres away having...
he's breathing in the natural country air.
Yes, he's breathing in his natural smoke and fueled air. How are you, Miles?
I am not too bad. I am surviving. How about you guys?
We're great. We've had a good. We just had our hydration break during the podcast because, of course, we couldn't possibly do a whole podcast without a hydration break in this heat, as they do at the football.
Of course, yeah. So, what sponsor have you got for this then?
Well, funny you say that. I played an advert in the sponsor break. What's going on in your world at the moment?
So my world is just coming up the back of every single possible last minute thing you can do for Silverstone this weekend.
Yep.
And the current race is coming up. And yeah, in between that, trying to crash some go-karts myself. So yeah, you know, busy really.
Just remind us, for those who don't know you, of course you race in the British KZ Championship, British Karting Championship KZ, however it's called. But also you're a busy man during the week. What do you get up to?
So I like to describe it as I colour in pictures for a living for people in motorsport. So yeah, I'm a graphic designer and website designer in motorsport. So I do things like helmet designs, livery designs, car designs, basically anything you can probably do with motorsport. I can colour it in, draw it, design it, etc. like that.
But it sounds great, and all your stuff, you know, you're being very modest. You've done some of the designs on helmets and other stuff for some of the biggest people in motorsport. Go on, reel it off. You could do a bit of an advert for yourself now.
I'll put me on the spot here. Right, so we do both the Merc lads. So we do George and Kimmy. We do both the Visa Cash App, RB Massive, whatever the heck that team is called these days. I keep forgetting. We do Arvid and Liam. We do Esteban. We do Oscar. We worked for Lando for years and years as well. We do Fernando, Franco Colapinto.
I didn't realize you did that many.
Yeah, I think it's Alex Albon as well. Yeah, I think there's up to 9. So yeah, they keep me very, very busy.
Very busy indeed.
Is it true that Miles Murphy has polished more Formula One drivers' helmets than any other person in history?
Probably, yeah. I put that one as an achievement.
But Miles, it's great to have you on. But part of the reason I got you on is one because you're in the British Kart Championships in KZ. You have a big presence in motorsport generally, but also in karting. You're a big karting advocate, and you've done pretty much every level and part of karting as well. Andrew is familiar with you in the British Universities Karting Championship. Now you're racing KZ. You've done single speed and everything like that. Karting is still a thing you keep coming back to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just a critical part of all motorsport, really. I mean, the more for me, obviously, me being a bit older now, it's more of a hobby, and honestly, genuinely, it's good for fitness, and it stops you going insane on the computer. So it's still there. It keeps you busy. I enjoy it. And yeah, I know it's an expensive hobby, but you don't have to make it as expensive as some people do. So I enjoy it. KZ's good fun. Yeah, and we're a bit more, say, like, yes, it gets me out. I enjoy it. It's the purest form of motorsport. I don't think you can ever really see a boring karting race, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's why we all love it, really.
Amazing. And we also would like you to weigh in on some unpopular opinions that we've had this month. We'll start with Andrew's.
Miles, mine this month is that, well, it's more of a question. Why are paddocks with the same teams, the same drivers, a lot of the even same officials, so much more chill in Europe than back in the UK?
Oh, I don't know, maybe because the paddocks are bigger, they're further apart, but don't speak to each other as much. I mean, in the British ones, I think we see each other a lot. I think actually in the small, a lot of that is because the British one is so insanely competitive. So many teams have known each other for so long as well. I bet if you go through the teams and you ask like the mechanics who you work for, a lot of them have probably gone from team to team to team to team, and they've known each other for decades. So I think rivalry's good. I don't think it's a bad thing to have rivalry and a bit of needle at times. It makes a bit of drama, especially for you boys to watch it, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, okay. Henry, his was pretty long, but give us the most abridged version you can, Henry.
I'll give you the most abridged version. So in order to unite British karting on the 70th anniversary of the first kart race in the UK, which is 2029, British karting unites by crowning 70 British champions in a 3-week space in an Olympic Games style centralised hub using Silverstone as the main hub. And we go from indoor rental karting, outdoor rental karting, 2-stroke, 4-stroke, endurance, sprint, gearbox, and on the long circuit at Silverstone, we do the British Superkart Championship, all in the space of 3 weeks, having spent the previous 8 months of the year doing the qualifying sessions around the country for all types of karting as a way of uniting the sport, calling it This is Karting UK, or 70 for 70.
So that's like the super British Karting Olympics, really, what you can predict. I think that's quite cool, to be fair. Actually reminds me back in the day, well, way back in the day, probably back in your day, really, Henry.
Oh.
Back in the day with those qualifiers for
yes.
like, Super 1 and stuff. It'd be stuff like that. I think that'd be great, honestly. It brings everyone together and go like that, because I think it as well, I think you touched a point on it actually earlier in the week where it was almost like people in different classes discriminate against different sorts of karting, like between the rental ones, like the 100s, and the owner drivers. Everyone basically gets up their own arse in a way to like, discriminate, which I don't think is the point. It's like we all do enjoy karting, we all do what we can afford, what we enjoy. So something like that, I think will bring it together really nicely. To be fair, it's just about how would we then broadcast, put it together, or we just say Motorsport UK, just make it happen. They definitely have the money these days, I think, don't they?
Well,
apparently so.
Apparently that's what Henry's point was exactly. And my unpopular opinion is that driving standards are as good now as there has ever been, and potentially the best they've ever been in karting, right from top to bottom.
I wouldn't say they've got any worse, honestly. I think if you probably saw some of the races on the weekend we just done, you might disagree. But I think the fact that like the British karting level, you got the drop down nose cones. Whether you agree with them or not, I think it definitely has stopped the firing aspect. You've got a lot more, say, like wheel to wheel, but you have more chance of surviving. So that's the way I kind of see it. Like back in the day, you used to go to turn one, the likes of, say, like Brower or Shenzhen or whatever, and if you're on the front row, you fall well, you're being shuffled down. These days, it's nowhere near as bad as that. Kart Masters might show something a bit different. You'll be commentating on that soon. That might be a bit throw my comments out the window. But I generally think, I don't think they've got any worse. I think it's like kind of stabilised, really. I think as you tend to find more in the British Championship, when it's not a one-off all guns blazing one, they're definitely better. It's more like the ones I don't agree with when you see like the world champs and European champs and that, where it's a one-off winner takes all event, and that's when they do get worse for obvious reasons. Like you're going to go to PFI in the wet, you're going to probably fire someone to win if you can, because only one person can get the glory, aren't you? But I do genuinely agree with you. I think they're nowhere near as bad as they were pre like drop downs and that, and it's kind of like stabilised since. I think the way that we can probably make them better is if we adopt more, say, like the Pro Tour method, where they've got more cameras. They've got cameras on the kart, so if a camera comes off, you're called in. I think that's another good way of doing it, and that's basically how they kind of get around the pro shifters not having drop downs, for example. And I think when that's policed well, it makes it even better as well.
Well, thank you very much. That's a very eloquent description and good to hear. Do you have any, I haven't primed you for this, do you have any off the top of your head unpopular karting opinions that I can air at least slightly?
Unpopular ones. KZ to do PFI.
I mean,
that's a completely another story which we can't go into on this podcast. Well, you might be able to.
No, it's okay. Well, go on. You think KZ should go to PSI?
We should definitely do PFI. Might have to change the bridge. Didn't have to change the bridge anyway, though, so that might be all right for that.
Cool.
And what's another one?
You've got more.
I don't know. I think there should be some sort of, honestly, if you can, like a cost cap in karting, because it's just in general the cost of doing it. I mean, we get a lot, say people don't do KZ 'cause it's expensive, but I can pretty much guarantee what we spend doing KZ is quite a lot less than you'll see the people in like X30 Junior Max when they're doing Europe and that. We're paying quite a lot less, but the costs are spiraling, and it can be quite staggering when you see what people are spending when they go from British to European, especially. It's like single-seater numbers now, and I don't know what they can do to stop it. I get that the teams need to grow. Economically, it's good for more classes, more people getting involved, but I think at the way it's going, we're getting to a stage where the working class family getting a chance is just not going to happen anymore. And I don't know whether there's some way we can do anything to basically stop that and make it be an elitist sport. I know we're never going to make it cheap, but at least not make it any worse than it is now.
Miles, I think that's a very valid point, and who knows, unpopular or not, we shall find out. But Miles, thank you so much for your time. We won't take any more of your busy evening because I'm sure you've got plenty more designing to do or time to take off from designing. So, no, thanks very much.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Miles. See you later. See you at the British Kart Champs at some point.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Miles Murphy there, everyone. He was our Phonebox guest. Thank you to Miles. You can see him smash around in a Demon Tweaks branded CRG in the British Kart Championships in KZ2. That was our Phonebox. Next up, the comments section. The comments section this month has been a bumper one for comments on Alpha Life generally, but also for comments on snippets from the Bumpdraft podcast.
Oh,
so
thank you.
If you're not a SlipStream member, then thank you for commenting. If you have commented, thank you very much. Consider subscribing because you'll get live Slipstream finals, but also get to see and watch this Bumpdraft podcast and also that Slipstream tune-up that's coming up very soon.
So you can actually officially now join Slipstream and get tuned right up.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's have a look at some of the comments that I've highlighted. There's been so many that there's no way I could have put them all in, but just ones that caught my eye. This was a comment on the ridiculous outside double overtake by Young Kart Racer. I think this was the Harry Taylor one that's still doing the rounds. Nearly 8 million views on that clip now from Alpha Live a couple of years ago. Someone said Andrea Raschini 7305 said, "Now tell me a reason to watch F1. Karting," and I replied, "Karting is greater, it's better than F1." And I think we all agree on that. That's not an unpopular opinion, I don't think, amongst us here. This was another comment on the T4 move for the lead. I think it was actually from that race that you were alluding to earlier on. You know, if he had a wife and kids at home, he would not have done that move.
See, I'm not sure about that with the T4 drivers. I think he would have.
Yeah, that's funny, but I just thought it was a quite nice, wasn't it? Alluded to the comment. I think, was it by Alonso or was it by Schumacher on the move on the outside of 130R?
It was Alonso going around the outside of Schumacher at 130R. I knew he was going to break out. Knew he was going to back out because he has a wife and kids.
Yes, there you go. The next one was a comment on Henry's unpopular opinion about the weight categories being too light for drivers to be able to make it. Homer Oxal said cries in being 64 kilograms at 21 years old because he's clearly, whatever class of race he's racing, and he's nudging the weight limit. So
yeah, no, there was a couple that.
Before we move on that, weights, the heat wave, Formula One declared the race as a heat hazard race for Austria.
Yes.
What's changed? Regulatory.
5 kilos extra, isn't it?
5 kilos extra, no matter whether you wear the cool jacket system, and the cool jacket doesn't weigh 5 kilos. The pump systems that keep why don't we have that in karting? We saw drivers racing in 39 degrees. I saw them coming off circuit, no vest on, and putting it straight on in the awning.
On Friday at Genk, and this is not a slight against the organisers or anything, on Friday at Genk, when we were at 40 degrees, there were 8 or 9 drivers that came in after qualifying and their first heat races underweight because they had sweated away so much in the race, and of course none of them were allowed to drink any water in the line for the weigh scales. Now these are kids.
Yeah. I don't
These
think
are kids.
I don't think you should personally. I don't think you should be allowed to drink water before the weigh scales. But there maybe should be more provisions, maybe shortening the race if it's ridiculously hot or something.
I mean, why shorten the race? You're already spending so much money to be there. Why get less track time just because it's hot when a bottle of water might help?
True. You can account for this though.
Yep.
You can account for this. Next comment was on the Dan Rowe Aero suit, which got a lot of interest. That was. Firstly, thank you very much for the show and tell, Henry. There is now a UK distributor if you're in the UK, so have a look.
And it's not Henry.
No.
Henry genuinely wasn't paid to talk about it. Genuinely not paid to talk about it. And we have no affiliation. We just thought it was a cool talking point. And it has been a big talking point.
I was sent by the people from Dan Rowe some photographs of a Dan Rowe suit of a driver that was thrown out of their kart. The race suit had to be cut off the driver. The driver is fine. The driver was cut out because he had an issue with an arm or something like that. The inner protective layer, which is the bit that is the key bit, was completely undamaged. Did the driver have one single gouge scrape mark from when he was thrown down the tarmac? No.
Well, this is the whole point. There was a lot of people saying, I'm not wearing that because it's not safe. The whole point is it's been homologated. So, again, we don't. If you buy a Dan Rowe Aero suit, we don't make any money. We have no axe to grind.
Trust me,
it was genuinely an interesting point. If I started racing competitively again, I would buy one because I would want to go quicker. A lot of people at home in the comments, and one of them was here. Where are we? I've missed it now. The comment was from Stephen Pack 8267, from someone that crashes and wore through my seat. How much protection do these provide? Well, they're homologated, so they are tested. That's the point. The decision whether you wear them or not, based on aesthetics or performance, is completely up to you.
But in terms of safety, and do they protect you as much as any other race suit? The answer is yes, 100%. They've been tested. People have had crashes in them. They've been tested, but also we can say that because if they weren't, they wouldn't have the FIA homologation.
Absolutely.
Simple as that.
Another one from Wisdom Sage 1989 said, nope, this is stupid. Cool. No one's forcing you to buy one. That's absolutely fine.
And again, that's good. That's good.
And also, it will be interesting. It will be
great.
Genuinely interesting for me to see. I think that they will become more popular. There will be more of them, and they will become adopted more. But we may be wrong. Maybe it will be a flash in the pan and we'll look back in 5 years and go, wow, didn't they look silly? But who knows? Next one was a comment on my hand signals. Well, one of the few. A couple of them I can't actually show you because I was called some pretty bad names.
Which is not fair because Piers does know what he's talking about. It's his opinion. There were a few rather tasty ones stateside. Hello, Phil Pignatero.
It's all good. I can take it. I knew I was walking into both when I made this podcast and when I had that opinion. So it's all good. This one was... ironically, in my favour, from Laura B. French, who is an official, one of our officials. Thank you to all officials if you are watching, marshals, time and keeping, all of the officials. Thank you so much. Laura French said, I'm with Piers on this. I see a lot of mechanics signalling while I'm in the timing room, and I'm not convinced this makes much difference. I like how serious they all look, though. I thought that was quite entertaining. Another one from a driver. I have never looked in the direction of my mechanic during a race once. That was from MLC Karting, so that's funny. But there was plenty saying, actually quite a lot of opinions of people who differed from mine, one of which was Nicky Richardson, is our Phonebox guest last month. He said, no, me and my dad had loads of different specific signals for different things, and there's a lot of people that said the same thing, so I didn't account for people actually being maybe as clever. People can use it cleverly, but I just think most of the time still fairly pointless. There was so many comments on a lot of the clips from the bump draft from last month, so thank you to everyone who commented. All the discourse and discussion is very much appreciated, whether you agree with our opinions, whether you don't agree with our opinions, whether it was on one of the other points that we said. The whole point of this podcast is to give you some entertainment, to provide positive discourse and things that will help karting as a whole, and then with the ultimate goal of being able to provide more exposure to karting both through the podcast and also to allow us as SlipStream to provide broadcasts at a high level to club karting. So thank you so much. And some examples of how much reaction we have had was the Andrew Mathers plea to the karting community about please come together. That was had just on Facebook, I think, alone was like 58 reactions, 18 comments. We had then Kart Weights Are Too Light, 1,000 likes, 121 comments on Instagram alone. That was massive. Then the karting cowboy, Dean Hales.
Excellent.
Dean Hales.
That's what I love. That is what I love about this category and how these guys go racing. Get that one on the replay machine. Dean Hale has got the lasso, has pulled Matt Venn in and taken the race lead.
That's had 46 comments and loads of views.
And most of them about how I say the word lasso.
I would say lasso. Like, how else do you say lasso?
America, you can't pronounce the word boy. You say buoy, it's boy, okay? I am not taking any advice. Well, crap is one way of it. It's lasso in our part of the world, okay? Yeah. Deal with it.
Yeah, and also this is from a man who is. This is from a man who is supposed to be marrying
an American on the 6th of April next year. Come at me, bro.
If he's not, then maybe exactly. And then another one was the race suit, as we know it, is dead, which was the clip from Henry's. That's had like 120 comments alone on Facebook, I think, as well. So please do get involved in the comments, both on this YouTube video if you're a member, on all the clips we post on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok as well. We want to hear all of what you have to say. Hopefully it's constructive, but even if it's not, it's always entertaining sometimes as well. Just remember that it's in the public forum, so what you say can be found by everyone. There you go. That was the comments section. Hopefully plenty more to come. That only leaves 2 more things, which is the caption competition and the Cooldown room, starting with the caption competition. The caption competition this month is aptly named because we have the caption competition.
Excellent.
Freddie Lloyd, who we spoke about very, very fast recently in karting, wherever he goes. This was, I think, at Lark Hall. Yeah. I think when he won convincingly and did the double. Well, I actually have my caption, which is it's the hat trick for Freddie Lloyd.
Excellent.
The hat trick. Andrew, have you got anything to?
I don't know how I respond to that. He looks like Lord Nelson in a way.
Yes, that is with the early 19th century hat there. I don't know, Fab Five. They say Fab Five Freddy. I'm struggling here. This is Is it Cap with a capital K? Freddie Lloyd starts the campaign to start spelling Cap with a K.
With the K, the British Kart Championship's nice. Anyway, if you've got a comment, a caption that you think would work well with that, whether it's related or an innuendo or whatever you want.
He's right though, Horatio Nelson.
Actually, do you know what? Here we go. Here's Andrew's idea on the screen. It does look a little bit like that. Freddie, driving excellent, style
questionable.
We'll see. That was a caption competition. Let us know what you think, how that should be captioned. All that's left to do is the cool down lap to cool ourselves down. We've had our hydration break. Don't worry, we're okay.
God. I mean, luckily, boys and girls,
we've survived. Well, we're going to go ahead to what's coming up this month and then round this podcast up. The cooldown lap. What's on this month for Alpha Live, both for SlipStream members and for everything going on? We have the 4th and 5th of July, which is actually may well be in the past. If you're watching this as a non-SlipStream member, this always confuses me where the dates fall because we record this and then post it the week after. But 4th and 5th of July, SlipStream Super 1 Saturday, Fullbeck. Fullbeck, as always, produces close racing.
Whoever got hurt at Fullbeck recently, get well soon. There was an incident at Fullbeck the last couple of weeks. Get well soon, both drivers.
We've also got SlipStream Trent Valley Kart Club round 4, the last opportunity for people to go racing, I believe, at PFI before Kart Masters, which of course once again will be on Alpha Live. No SlipStream required there. And then UKC's at Rower. I've put Wower with W's. I don't know why I did that. It's Rower with R's.
If it's called Wower, I might be able to go.
Yeah, Wower. UKC round 4 are going there. Then the 11th and 12th of July, we've got SlipStream Buckmore for the Champions Kart Club. That's Darren Beaver's new kart club, which is going to hopefully, I think there's planned 1 or 2 this year with hopefully more to come in the future. It would be great to see owner-driver racing down in the southeast at Buckmore again, because one of the best circuits in the UK, no doubt. Amazing, looking forward to that. And we've also got British Kart Champs, Rotax, Event 5, Kimbolton.
Kimbolton, yeah. probably be another hot one. Tends to
Probably.
be pretty warm. when it
Always
gets to
hot at Kimbolton, I
mud.
find, for British kart champs. But that's always produces great racing. Tell you what, it's a bad day to be a mojo on a hot day at Kimbolton, isn't it?
Many mojos
Yeah.
were lost during the making of this race meeting.
Exactly, almost as many as cones at Silverstone. Then the 18th and 19th of July, we've got Porsche Sprint Cup Swiss at Red Bull Ring. So if you fancy a Porsche race and a bit of car racing, have a watch of that. Fun Cups at Donington. We've got Super Prix at Shennington. That's going to be cool. Who's going to be the Super Prix champion. And then we've got T4 Euro from Kiltercran as well. That's on Alpha Live.
Oh, excellent.
T4 Euro Series. We've seen how good the racing can be at the British Kart Champs.
Ireland.
And then we've got the 25th and 26th of July, Slipstream Wilton Mill Kart Club Round 5. We are at, if you're watching and it doesn't look like Wilton, this is the paddock that's literally right behind. Very much enjoying this, basking in the evening sunshine. British Kart Champs Event 6, IAME Rowra. Is that right?
Yes.
Rowra, we've discussed that briefly. Rowra, also great to have them in the British Kart Champs as well, because what a track. One of the ones that I've never driven, but I really, really need to drive. Looking forward to seeing those guys smash around there. 750 Motor Club, Alton Park, and then TKC Round 5 at Shennington. That was all on the 25th and 26th of July. A reminder, for those Slipstream events, you can watch the heats. Everyone can watch the heats free to view on YouTube. If you want to watch the finals live as they happen and for 7 days afterwards, a Slipstream membership is required and easily obtained by just pressing the join button on the YouTube channel. Reminder, if you do it on your phone and you've got an iPhone, don't let Apple steal some of your money, because basically that doesn't go to YouTube or us. So just do it on either on Safari or do it on your computer, because you'll save yourself like £3-4 a month
We'll get a better phone.
for no benefit.
When I'm on
we'll
Safari.
not talk about Android, Apple. And once you've clicked that join button, not only do you get the free viewing of the finals of all Slipstream events, which is Wilton Mill, Trent Valley, Champions Kart Club, and more. You get visual Bumpdraft podcast. You get it for 7 days before the audio podcast comes out, and also the Slipstream tune-up, which starts with Oliver Hodgson. Then we'll have Gus Lawrence. You can find out how to win multiple. Ollie Hodgson, 4-time Kart Masters champion, Rotax Max Challenge Grand Final champion, IAME Warrior Finals champion. Pretty much, if there's one big off event in the world in karting, he's won it, apart from the World Championships. But
And he's not even the fastest member of his relationship, because his lovely other half, Jade Goodwin, is quicker than him in a Formula A kart.
Well, there you go. So that's pretty cool. And then the month after, so the middle of August, we're going to have a chat with, I've already had a chat with Gus Lawrence about how to win multiple championships, 3-time back-to-back British champion, won so many things. So that's all, again, visually exclusive to our Slipstream members. It will be available as an audio-only podcast, but of course you get more value if you watch it, and also we're providing more value to you Slipstream members. Henry, Andrew, thank you so much once again. July Slipstream Bumpdraft podcast is the one of 2 podcasts now. I think we can call that a wrap.
In the books.
See you next month.
Bye.